Hi, welcome to
Hey!
radio. I'm Reverend Rich. This
I'm
is,
Reverend Paul, and this
and
is
we have
Reverend Sonja Prince we have with us
Sonja.
today.
Sonja. We are so blessed. This is what is this, our 32nd show, Paul?
32nd, right?
Well, we are blessed. We have Sonja Prince. Did I say that right?
Sonja.
Sonja. Okay. Anyways, we have her as our guest today, and we are so blessed to have her. She's so awesome. We'll give you more details later, but would you pray us in?
Okay, I think we start everything. We start our day with prayer, don't we?
Prayer.
Yep.
So I just invite you to join me in consciousness as we recognize that power and that presence of God that is within us. No matter what you call it, the universe, spirit, it doesn't matter. There's only one. There's only one presence, one creative intelligence, one life that breathes all of us. And what I know about it is beautiful. It is love. It is the love that I am. And because I recognize that power and that presence within me, I recognize it in my two beautiful, beloved hosts here. And everyone in this what big wide universe. I recognize that oneness in all things, in all people, at all places. Things that are seen, things that are unseen. I recognize it. And I know that I am one with it. And I know that all is one with it. And so my awareness of this divine is that I know it's at the source of all good, my good, everyone's good. And what I know it is that it speaks through me. It speaks through all. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be here in community this morning. This is a divine show, a show that has come out of creation of the one through these beloveds. And I'm grateful to be here. And as we go through this beautiful prayer radio program, this show today, I know that it is blessed. And I know that it reaches the multitudes. And then they are blessed by the words that are spoken, by the hearts that can be felt. And so, with great thanks, I say, and so it is.
And
So
so
it
it
is.
is. Well, this is prayer radio and prayers radio. Huh. And we're all about Ernest Holmes' prayer, from the Science of Mind. And we're just so happy to have you. She's over at riversidecsl.org. So we're plugging your center. And I'll
Okay.
tell you what, I was there Sunday because I check out, certain services when I have time. And it was fantastic. I told Paul about, I said, remember those pictures I sent you, Paul?
Yeah, those are great.
I sent him some pictures. So you guys were just fantastic. I was in there going, wow, this is really cool. Science of Mind is very interesting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, did you like our platform
I
when you
liked it.
visited our center? It's different. It's unique.
They have. Are you talking the table? Because they had when I walked
Yes.
in, they had this Episcopal church, and it was standing up, and he was talking on the dais, Reverend Ryan, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. And then afterwards, about middle through, they had these tables that you sat at, and then you had these conversations. And I hadn't seen that before in a regular church, where you get to know people, and there's small groups, but there's a lot of tables, right?
It's about community for us, and it's about love lives here, and it's about making sure everyone knows that they belong, and it's about you having a voice, you having an opportunity to speak into the room, the consciousness of what you've gotten out of the whole entire service. So it's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad that you came, and I'm glad I met your beautiful daughter, and I'm glad you got to share into that. So what was the question?
Oh, we haven't got to that part yet. Just to tell us a little bit about yourself, and you did,
Okay.
you know, and
Yes, so
then
I'm the assistant minister at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. And under the supervision, I say supervision and guidance because Rev Jeff Ryan, he's so transparent. He's so willing almost mentor me in this thing called ministry. And so I am the assistant minister there, and I'm grateful to be there. We have a wonderful community. And about me, I am a mother of three and a grandmother of four. And I came into this philosophy in 2004.
Mm.
And I have just dived in with both feet. And so, I'm a wife. I've been married for 40 years to my husband, and we share this beautiful
Mm.
philosophy that
Mm.
we call science of mind. We went through practitioner training together, of course, all the prerequisites before together, and then I went on to ministerial school after we got our practitioner license. So when they say being equally yoked, my husband is very much wanting to experience some of the things that I'm experiencing, and so
Mm.
that's why it was important for us to be able to speak the same language within our relationship.
Mm.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so that's
That
who
is
I
important.
am.
Well, for our guests on our show, we're saying hi to all the platforms that we're on. Reverend Ryan was also on show 23, if you're interested, which you are because you're here. And we have a lot of questions for you today because you're our guest today. Well, I'll go ahead and lead into that if you would.
So, Sonja, what tangible results have you seen from affirmative prayer, like spiritual mind treatment, in your life?
Oh my, okay. Well, the place I'm sitting in my home, the automobile that I drive. I mean, I can talk about tangible things, but there are also inner things that have changed and have shown up for me. But the home that I live in, it was an opportunity for me to go and experience this beautiful home and see if my consciousness fit in this space. See what I could bring to this space and what this bring the what the space will be bringing to me.
Mm.
And so I used to come and visit the home because it's a new development. I used to come and visit it. When I came in the first time and did the tour, I went back to the sales office and I told the sales lady, I found the one that I want, and I want the model, and I want it with everything in it. And when can I come back to make the purchase? She says, well, it's going to take a few, it's going to take a few months. But she kind of looked at me and said, well, you can want that one all you want, but she had this look like you're not going to get it, that kind of thing.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
I went back, I put it into prayer. And Spirit, if this is for me, if I am the right fit, if this home is going to bring me what I'm looking for, peace, joy, ownership, a place to not really raise my family because my kids are grown already, but to have them come and have beautiful celebrations here and rituals,
Mm.
family things that we do here. If this is the one for me, then let it flow with grace and ease. And
Mm.
I say that I always get kind of quiet when I'm talking about it because it was such a spiritual thing for me to speak it into existence. And then from that day on, I would come by like every month or so and sit in this home.
Mm.
I would go to the sales office, get the key, the code, and come and sit
Aw.
just to see if this was the right space for my energy, for my consciousness, and the consciousness of my family. And it was just a beautiful thing. And it manifested with grace and ease. I went back after the allotted time. I went to the sales office. The same sales lady was in there. And I said, okay, where do I sign? I purchased this house. My husband and I purchased this house with all the furnishings. Of course, it's a model, so it's all the upgrades, all the furnishings. There was 32 plants in here when we
Mm.
moved in. And I had to bring my suitcase. I had to really downsize the stuff that I had already, had in my life. I basically we moved in with our suitcases and a few beautiful pieces that I wanted to hold on to. So I've seen prayer work in my life in many, many ways, but the biggest and most tangible, if we're talking about things that we can touch, is this home, my car, um, just careers that I have had over the years. It's worked through prayer, through
Mm.
me, through spirit, through prayer, through me. It's
Through
worked.
you and for you. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you stay grounded in prayer? I mean, we have our day and squirrel, squirrel, squirrel.
We have our day, we're going along, and then, you know, well, grounding is something that is, it's a key thing for me, and one of the ways I stay grounded is I ground in the morning when I wake up. Before I
Mm.
look at the time on my clock, on my phone, but I don't scroll the internet. So I'm waking up in the morning and I'm grounding myself, and I'm just, you know in communication with the divine even before my feet hit the floor.
Mm.
Mm.
And so that puts me in an already state of groundedness, if you will, and awareness of the presence. And I can move from this space into the world with an attitude of gratitude, with an attitude that everyone that comes in contact with me, I will bless by my smile, by whatever interaction that we're going to have.
That goes into our next question, the prep for your day. I mean, how do you do this for yourself? Do you wake up and say, "I'm here, world"?
I wake up and say, what a beautiful day. And I'm in it and I get to experience it. No, I don't do that.
No? Okay.
But
What do
just,
you do?
but, just making sure that I wake up and I ground myself, making sure I wake up with the presencing of spirit within me. And then one of the things that I do at 7:30 in the morning is my prayer partner calls.
Mm.
And we are in prayer together. What can I hold in prayer for you? She says to me. And I say the same thing to her. What can I hold in prayer for you today? As we, in the phone call. But right now we're reading. We just finished reading the Bhagavad Gita. And
Mm.
Mm.
so we're reading that invisible power, your invisible power. We're reading that right now. So very much in spiritual practice. And another thing that do is pull up, of course, the Science of Mind magazine and read the daily guide. And my husband was in October's issue for he and his a friend of his, a practitioner of ours, Joe Nelson, Daryl Prince. They wrote an article on forgiveness, so check that out
Mm.
in the
Oh,
Nice.
October
yeah.
edition. So
All right. That's awesome. You have a lot of prayer practitioners at your center. I saw your site, and what we also have on Prayers Radio. You could click on and go to the World Prayer Center and get a prayer, and they'll actually call you. But if you're in the local area there in Riverside, you should stop by the church or at least give them a call if you need a prayer, because it's good stuff.
well, on Fridays, I am I I've been with World Ministry of Prayer since the pandemic, and Friday is my opportunity and my day to return phone calls and pray
Mm.
with people. So I've been um, participating in the World Ministry of Prayer for several years. So I get to hold consciousness for the people that call in wanting, asking for prayer.
So that's
So
when we
that's
should call you, is to talk to you on there. Okay, I'm going to call and say, "Hey,
you call, you leave your message, and there are prayer practitioners and ministers and that We have volunteered for sacred service during the week. My day is on Fridays. And if you leave a prayer Friday morning or Thursday evening, I will call you back on Friday.
Isn't it nice? The
That is
more
what
we
I,
practice prayer, the deeper we get into prayer.
absolutely. Absolutely. Like you
Yeah,
said, we were talking beforehand. That's our mantle.
that's
We
what we
we
do as science of
we
minders,
do.
correct?
That is what we do. So,
So so the adjustment of the day, when you have what do you do when you have a challenge? And you got the next question, Paul, but I want to sort of segue all this together here because it's
mm,
a package deal here. How do you adjust your day? What do you do? When you have a challenge that just pops up, boom, says hello. This has just happened, and guess what you get to do? Here we
you
are.
might want to hear from me that I immediately go into prayer once a challenge comes up for the day. I
But
go straight into treatment. But sometimes I go into fear.
mm,
Mm,
Sometimes I go into fear, even me. And
no.
so in those times, I know what to do. I'm triggered by an idea that I should stop. I should take a deep breath and just feel whatever I need to feel.
mm,
I have to feel whatever I need to feel in order to acknowledge it, and then now the next thought can come, how do I move myself from this fear, this whatever I'm feeling, to back to joy? And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes I have to, like that show that used to come on, I Want to Be a Millionaire, you got to phone a friend.
mm,
So my prayer partner says to me, you can call me at any time if you need to. My minister is there for me. So in those the opportune times when I can't just snap myself out of it and go straight to prayer, I call for a lifeline. And that is
mm.
the people in my life that I pray with, that I know that has my back.
So that pretty much covered the triggering prayer parts. What do you do? So
And they're
yeah.
like, sometimes they're like, snap out of it.
That's what we need, right? A little spiritual
Right.
slap from behind.
One time she's like, I'm sorry, but have you forgotten who you are? A
Mm,
divine emanation, impartation of spirit? What is wrong with you? Sometimes you even need that.
mm.
And that's what we do in prayer. We know the fact for them until they can know it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
Sonja, how has your prayer evolved over time?
Well, my prayer, the evolution of Sonja's prayer, let's call it that.
That could be a
So I
book.
grew up. I grew up with a minister stepfather. So I
Mm.
grew up with a minister stepfather, and I was very immersed into the African Episcopal Episcopal religion. That was our religion, was AME. And because my stepfather was the minister, of course, you become the minister's daughter,
Mm,
and you get to, I'm going to say get to, but I really felt forced to when I was growing up. But I got to participate in all aspects of the ministry. When I got to be, all the plays that I was in, all the, fundraising and outreaching that the youth church would do, the singing in the choir, and the prayer was a beseeching prayer
mm,
at that time. I was taught that God was some person outside of me that I had to uh, watch what I did and what I said. And the only way to the Father was through Jesus. And
mm.
so that was like the intermediary, and that's what I was taught. I always was this little different child that would be in my room talking to spirit. And my prayer has evolved since coming into this philosophy as not a beseeching to God to fix this thing that happened, this situation, this relationship, this whatever, but a knowing the truth of my being and the truth of whatever I'm going through, the truth of, if it's a person in a relationship, the truth of their being as well. And knowing that I can come from a different place where
Mm.
maybe in the past I would have come from a place of anger, a place of you did this, of blaming, the blame game. But with this new way of seeing people, I see the God in you. I see the face of God. I hold you in my heart. That song.
Is that a
And
Karen Drucker song?
That's the Karen
it
Drucker
is.
song.
We had her on here.
And knowing that I am in a relationship with this beautiful divine that loves me unconditionally because it is in me, as me, and I can see the other person as a divine emanation of that as well. And so that's, I guess, the evolution of my prayer has gone from beseeching to a knowing and to speaking my word for my own understanding, not to change someone else. I mean, am I articulating that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
You know?
because when we do prayer for ourselves, and everything changes out and ripples out in the universe around us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the only person's mind. And correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. The only person's mind we're changing is our own, with prayer.
Mm.
I think we
That's what
said
we do.
this.
We pray ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then the
So,
universe ripples out. Go
so
ahead.
Right.
Sonja, do you remember the first aha moment when you realized affirmative prayer works?
Ha.
It's always a moment when we realize it.
Well, I can't pinpoint one moment, but I will say in 2004 I was working at this metaphysical place, and my general director, she was a different type of person. Her whole spirit, her whole energy was a little bit different from, and we are different. But I'm saying in the consciousness where I was back then, I was like, she's really different. She's so calm, she's so peaceful, and I gravitated to her. And I
Mm,
was like, I don't know. It's like that thing. I want what she's having,
mm,
and it was very much my attitude. I want to know what she knows. I went in and sat down with her, and I'm like, I see that you're calmer. You don't let things upset
mm.
you or bother you, or what what is it? And she said, I'm studying to be a practitioner. I said, well, what is that?
Mm.
And she said, I'm from the philosophy that I'm in is through the Church of Religious Science. And I was like, Scientology? And she's like, no, 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 it's different. It's science of mind. And she mentioned Ernest Holmes, never heard of him.
Mm.
But she said, can I do a spiritual mind treatment for you? And I
Wow.
said, please, I don't know what it is, but I want to experience it. And so the aha moment, well, I don't know if it's the aha moment in prayer, but the aha moment for me is that there was this other way of thinking,
Mm,
and that the things that she shared with me, she was studying, and she's like, answer, help me study, so she did treatments on me quite often, and I got to look at her materials quite often. And I told my husband, I said, we're moving from here. I'm going to find a Science of Mind church, and we're going to move over there, because I had looked in my area and she told me where hers was quite a ways from me. And we did. I said, we are moving. We were living in Bellflower. We're moving from Bellflower to Menifee. And we did, and there was a Science of Mind church, and we showed up on Sunday. And I
wow.
brought my husband in, and I brought my children in. So aha moment that it works is that, my husband is a beautiful man, but he grew up a little bit cynical around where the church is concerned. And he walked in, he loved it, loved it. He loved the new way of thinking. I am this divine emanation, impartation of spirit. I didn't know that. I thought that I was a sinner and fall short of the glory of God and all that stuff. And so prayer worked because very much my prayer at that time was, when we move, will my family come with me to this new
Mm.
experience, this new philosophy? And they did, wholeheartedly, jumped all in. Like I said, my husband and I started taking classes right away to better our understanding of who we are and who God is in us, as us. And so we could have the same conversations and come from the same thought, idea,
Mm.
even though, we're different people.
That's huge, because you want to at least have your spouse understand what you're talking about, because our philosophy is an exact philosophy. It's a science. And
Now,
when
our
you
children,
explain, and
my
our children,
children went to camp and took classes and had a wonderful teacher, Reverend Linda Overton, that instructed them and kept them engaged. I did
Mm.
not have to beg my children to come to service. And yeah, so I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I'm just,
That
what's
was your
coming through
answer to
me is
prayer,
what
right?
you're getting.
well, we're at the 5 minute mark. With some of the shotgun questions that we like to ask is
Okay,
that,
shotgun.
how do you explain our philosophy to somebody that has just doesn't know what it is?
I say, girl, you've been going through some things. Do you want to change your life? Let me show you how. And you don't
Mm.
have to change anything about your religion, any of that stuff. You can keep all that. But this is an additive. This is a good, beautiful, yummy add on
Mm.
that you can incorporate into your life so you can see changes. As you change, the things around you change. Your life begins to change. You begin to show up differently. You show up as your best self. You begin to see other people as a beautiful emanation, the face of God. And so you begin to act, walk, embody these principles, and walk different on this planet.
Mm.
And that might be a long way, and they still might say, what?
What?
But the question is, what are you willing to do to change what's happening in your life right now? So that's my question to them. I see you're going through some things this month and last month and the month before that. Do you think you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and things are going to be different? No.
Mm.
Okay. Do you want to do something about it? Yes. Let me introduce you to this
Let's find some.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. Do you believe in Jesus? We believe Jesus was a beautiful master teacher, and that the way he walked is the way we need to walk, with gratitude, with thanksgiving, with
Mm.
love in our heart, with knowing that we are one with the divine, and there's no separation. So, yes, we do.
Mm. Right. Hey, do you have a favorite book that resonates with you from Ernest Holmes?
Well, let's see. I would say Living the Science of Mind is pretty good. I love that one. It's practical, it gives you tools. And then this thing called you, because this thing called you is a life
Mm.
changer, is a life changer. Unity of all life, the law, all the things, the belief system. And changing my beliefs was a biggie. And
Mm.
those came when I began to read these books by Ernest Holmes. There's other ones that, of course, through the course of our learning and our um, in this philosophy, we come across a lot of new thought leaders or sages and things like that. But you know, Ernest is the man.
Mm.
Ernest is the man. Faith, belief, and because of that, I spoke to a large crowd of 1,500 women on belief. And that's about faith, having faith.
Mm.
When the pandemic hit, I was what they call it, downsized. But
Mm.
that doesn't sound right to me. So I separated from the career that I was in. And that was one of those moments when fear came up. How do I do this now? And, you know, being so defined by what I did and not who
Mm.
I was. And I just said, let me take all that I've learned and channel it into something beautiful. I know I'm not getting up going to a 9 to 5 every morning, but that doesn't mean that I can't still, that my worth was tied up into that.
Mm.
So I put it out there. I prayed about it, and the local chamber of commerce was having a women's 10th annual women's conference, and I put my hat in for belief.
Mm.
Belief.
So
And
what's your favorite quote? Ernest Holmes quote.
Ernest Holmes quotes, a favorite one. Well, it might not necessarily be a quote, but I like when he talk about precedents.
Mm.
We're not bound by it. That I can change my life at any moment. It doesn't have to look like the past looked. Life is a mirror reflecting back to us what we think into it.
Mm.
That's it right there.
That's it. That's the key.
Yes, life is a mirror. And so I had to get the Windex out and shine up the mirror of my consciousness.
There you
That's
go.
nice. Hey, any
So
takeaways you want to share with people for the show?
I think it's a great show. I think it's a great platform. I think that you have gotten all kinds of different energies and personalities all speaking the same truth.
Mm.
And I think that's beautiful. Um, because we're all individualized
Mm.
expressions, right?
Right, exactly.
And if we could look at all of those and we let that mirror the life when we go out in the street, there'll be no judgment.
mm,
Because we would
Mm.
say that person is a divine emanation, impartation of spirit, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And they don't have to look like me, dress like me, sound like me, but it's still the truth. And so my takeaway from this is that no matter who comes on, the truth can be taken from this and it goes out into the world.
Mm. That's
one,
perfect.
Not going to sound the same, but it's the same truth. And that's the beauty of this show because you are hearing it from so many people.
Mm.
and that's it. That's
That's
perfect.
it. Perfect
But
ending.
I'm Reverend Rich, Prayers Radio. This is Reverend.
Reverend Paul, I am spiritalive.com.
And go ahead and plug your site, Sonja, which is riversidecsl.org. Is there anything else you want to plug?
Just Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, riversidecsl.org, and it is a great place to grow. It's a great place to get your voice heard. I tell
Mm.
you what, you don't leave Sunday service and say, anybody ask you, well, what did the minister talk about today? And you say, I don't know, but the choir was really good. You know, you know what was spoken on today because you also unpacked it for yourself and for your own life,
Mm,
what's
Mm.
been happening, and you took tools away from that service that you can use during the week. Practical, we always talk about practical tools.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we give at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, and you get to speak it in the room. Your
Mm.
voice is going to be heard.
And I had my 20-year-old daughter go with me, and well, she signed some lines, and she loved it. She thought there was good conversations. Everybody had a voice in there, and there was good thought that was put out. So if you're looking for a church that's in the Riverside area or any other CSL, because we've interviewed quite a few, you might want to check the church out, because they did have a good venue that was mind friendly for all ages. And she just resonated. She had a great time with it. So I can speak to that because I brought a 20-year-old. So a lot of people are like, church, no, it's different. It's exactly
And when
different.
you say church, we mean community. We mean centers.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
not the typical church.
No, it's
yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
I find myself saying church center. I think I say church because of my background, but we are a center. We are a center for spiritual living.
And each
That's
one
it.
of us inside that center right here, that's our spiritual living.
So would you pray us out?
Oh, sure. And taking a deep breath and coming back into that awareness of spirit in us as us. We already know that. We keep affirming it. Giving thanks for this beautiful platform, for Reverend Paul and ministerial student Rich. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your consciousness. Thank you for putting this out on the airwaves for all to pick up and see at whatever time that is designed for them to see it. They will. And so, knowing as we leave this room today, this platform, that our lives are blessed. It is richer for us being here, for us being in communication and community together. So, with great gratitude, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. And so it is.
And so it
So
is.
it is. So we are Prayers Radio, and we will see you next week with a new
Good to
exciting.
see you, Sonja.
And remember to visit their site. The show notes will be at the bottom on all the different platforms they're on. And we're very grateful to have you, Sonja. Appreciate you. So everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.